Recording in progress.
On the order, the regular meeting of the Rio Dell City Council. Roll call, please.
Mayor Garnes?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Johnson?
Here.
Councilmember Carter?
Here.
Councilmember Wilson?
Here.
Councilmember Woodall?
Here. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. Special call on approved resolution number 1562-2023, accepting the certification of votes for the November 8th, 2022 general election. There's one in our packets. City Clerk.
Yes, so the Humboldt County Elections Department officially certified the votes cast in the November 8th general election on December 6th. The resolution accepts the vote count and recognizes the election of the three candidates as council members elect for four-year terms ending with the 2026 general election. The resolution also recognizes the passage of Measure O for the reduction of the existing 1% sales tax to 0.75%, which will be effective January 1st, 2025. So we will swear, once we accept the certification of votes, then we'll continue with the swearing in this evening of the new council.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Thank you. Is there a second? We have a motion and a second. Vote.
Oh, we'll do the first one.
Well, motion carries 5-0.
Okay. Yeah. She knows. She knows.
And now.
Yeah, like you're doing the now. It's been great. Yeah, you're welcome.
Don't be a stranger. Don't be a stranger. Thank you, Gordon.
Yeah.
Thank you. Now we will, ceremonial matters, swearing in and seating of newly elected council members, Deborah Garnes, Julie Woodall, and Robert Orr.
Would you like to come forward, please?
Down here.
Yeah. Okay. On the cheat sheet for the closet, we love to have it. Okay.
Are we gonna do it for again? No?
I'll get my back copy. Okay. So you're ready? Okay, raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name, do solemnly swear.
I, Deborah Garnes, do solemnly swear
That I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California.
That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California.
That I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion.
That I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion.
And that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I'm about to enter.
And that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter.
Congratulations.
Now we'll move to the election of mayor and mayor pro tem. Page 10 in our package.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor and members of the City Council. So I'll start off by saying that all council members are considered nominated for mayor and vice mayor unless someone would like to decline nomination. And Councilmember Woodall has declined for both positions. So now's the time to speak up if you want to decline, otherwise we'll continue with the ballot and the voting. So if you're all good, then we'll just all pass out ballots and you can vote. We'll start with mayor. And these are for 2-year terms. So passing down. Yeah, everybody got pins? So just circle the name of your choice for mayor. Fold your ballot, sign your name at the bottom, and then pass your ballot back down to me.
Are we able to make it comment on this thing? Or, on the election?
Yes,
I know in the past, we've done this like this, has always seemed kind of uncomfortable, so maybe we just take the names and then we just, without giving any recommendation one way or the other.
yeah,
So,
we've done that before. I'm sure it's, David would like to comment.
and in lieu of, everything that's going on, I'd like to, just commend Mayor Garnes and, it seemed like last time we were in the middle of a pandemic, we were working through our way out. And this time we're working through the emergencies and the stuff we're doing. And is my feeling that I would like to see her serve another 2 years as mayor. And hopefully it's up to the other council members, of course, to decide what they want. But that's my comment as far as public words. And okay, I don't think words.
Okay, so we have 5 ballots back, and I don't really need to read the names because it's unanimous 5-0. So we're looking at the same for Mayor Pro Tem. Oh, this is oh, sorry. Hi. Let's see. Oh, you got it.
If you wanted marketing, we're gonna make a recommendation to, the Councilmember Woodall had already had, withdrew her name, and, with I think with the exposure and the relative newness and experience, I wanted to recommend, Councilmember Amanda Carter as our mayor pro tem to serve for this term.
You're right. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Oh, you did the election with her. 5-0 for Amanda Carter. Thanks for being here.
So Mayor Garnes, before we continue, we need to do a little bit of a seat change. It is standard protocol for the vice, for the mayor pro tem to sit to the right of the mayor.
Well, switch places, it will be, this was all on Zoom last time, right? And then all here and now I did that. I'm just trying to shut off my right here. Oh, yes, it is. Okay, we're going to be type stuff.
Thank you.
Permanent positions, there you go.
Thank you, everyone. Now we are on to public presentations. This is the time for persons who wish to address the council on any matter not on this agenda and over which the council has jurisdiction. As such, a dialogue with the council or staff is not allowed under the Ralph M. Brown Act. Items requiring council actions not listed on this agenda can be placed on the next regular agenda for consideration if the council directs, unless a finding is made by at least 2/3 of the council that the item came up after the agenda was posted and is of an urgency nature requiring immediate action. Please limit comments to a maximum of 3 minutes. Anyone like to say anything? Are there any hands raised?
Elizabeth Warren. I just like to say, you guys, this council and the city, you guys have been doing an excellent job the last couple of weeks. It's been very busy. Just thank you so much.
Hand raised? Any email? No one, so we will close public presentations and move on to the consent calendar. Is there any item that council member would like to pull from the consent calendar? No, anyone from the public? Then I will move for a motion to approve the consent calendar.
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Mayor Barnes?
Here, no, present, no. Yes.
Mayor Barnes?
Yes.
Councilmember Orr?
Yes.
Councilmember Wilson?
Yes.
Councilmember Woodall?
Yeah.
Motion carries 5-0. We changed seats, so.
Yeah.
That's gonna mess with our voting box.
So till we fix it.
Oh. Didn't think of that either.
Yeah.
Report from staff and reports and staff communications. Item number 1, update on the December 2022 earthquake, and I'm sure the subsequent aftershock. City manager.
Thank you, Mayor Barnes and members of the council. So I'm just going to give a little bit of an overview, and then I want to turn it over to the individual staff members to provide an update on their department and function in the city and their experiences. So for the benefit of the record, on Tuesday, December 20th, 2022, a 6.4 magnitude earthquake struck Humboldt County. Since this earthquake, the county has experienced over 200 aftershocks, one of which being a 5.4 magnitude on New Year's Day. Again, community members during earthquake events are advised to drop, cover, and hold on in the event of additional aftershocks, and that there's additional safety tips at ready.gov/earthquakes. In this event, in these 2 events, over 70 structures have been determined to be unsafe throughout the county due to earthquake-related damages, and Mr. Caldwell will be updating the council on the number here in Rio Dell. Damage assessments are ongoing countywide, but also specifically here in Rio Dell, and we have had great assistance from the county of Humboldt and some of our local cities and fire departments. And the state of California, which have deployed to assist Rio Dell and other communities in the damage assessments. Residents are encouraged to report earthquake damages to the Humboldt County Office of Emergency Services. Over the holiday weekend, at the request of the city, a local assistance center was open and connected nearly 300 community members impacted by the earthquake with state and local assistance. So that involved Rio Dell citizens and non-Rio Dell citizens. Those who are unable to visit the center and in need of additional assistance, there are some resources both in English and Spanish at the City Hall lobby. There is a Red Cross overnight shelter. The shelter remains in operation at Monument Middle School, 95 Center Street here in Rio Dell. Services provided to the overnight shelter guests impacted by the earthquake include temporary overnight sheltering cots and blankets, showers, hygiene kits, snacks, and full meals, water, and charging stations. Additionally, the Red Cross is available to connect with a variety of other services and aid in the recovery process, and folks are encouraged to contact 1-800-RED Cross for additional assistance. There's emergency supplies distribution here in Rio Dell. Water and non-perishable food items continue to be distributed at the Rio Dell Community Resource Center, which is located at 406 Wildwood Avenue. That's the Chamber of Commerce building and the Community Resource Center building. And those services are available Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. and Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. A representative with the Humboldt County Department of Health and Human Services is also on site at the Community Resource Center to assist community members with applying for services such as CalFresh replacement, Medi-Cal, CalWorks, Transportation Assistance Program, and courtesy applications to other counties and referrals to other community resources. And this service is available from 9:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday, again at the Chamber of Commerce building. Additional food assistance programs are available through Food for People. And to find their distributions, we want to encourage people both in Rio Dell and countywide to visit foodforpeople.org for more information. Rio Dell residents may utilize 2 dumpsters located outside of Rio Dell City Hall here on Wildwood Avenue at 675 Wildwood Avenue to dispose of earthquake debris. Please do not dispose of hazardous waste in these receptacles. Hazardous items are not fit for disposal in these receptacles, including leftover household products that can catch fire or have other deleterious effects, such as oil, paints, cleaners, batteries, pesticides, and other hazardous materials. I will say that staff has been diverted to clean up oil spills at this particular location from careless individuals who have abused that. And when we have to do that, that is an emergency response. We have to pull everybody from restoring water and sewer services to address those problems. So really being careful about what is placed in the bins is vitally important. Residents who are having trouble getting in touch with their landlords regarding earthquake-related repairs to rented dwellings are encouraged to contact the City of Rio Dell City Hall at 707-764-3532. Residents outside of Rio Dell with remaining earthquake-related debris and other materials really need to contact their local sanitation provider and not bring materials from outside of Rio Dell into Rio Dell. For business support, local businesses impacted by the earthquake are asked to complete a business recovery survey, which is located at gohumco.com. So that's GOHUMCO.com. This survey is created by the Humboldt County Economic Development Department and is being utilized to track, monitor, and quantify business losses in Humboldt County following the earthquakes. As of January 3rd, 2023, businesses have reported across the county $1.4 million in losses. Financial donations to assist with the response can be made directly to the Rio Dell Volunteer Fire Department via their Venmo, which is at Rio Dell Fire-Department. They also have a GoFundMe, which you can find readily on the GoFundMe website by just simply searching for Rio Dell Fire. Residents' donations are also encouraged to be channeled through Pay It Forward Humboldt. They have a Facebook page and their phone number is 707-616-9191. And they can be emailed at payitforwardhumboldt@gmail.com. Additionally, those interested in donating to the American Red Cross are encouraged to do so by visiting redcross.org. At this time, the city is not accepting and the community organizations are not accepting non-monetary donations. So things like clothing items, bulky items, we really want people to go through Pay It Forward Humboldt, which has a listing of items that are needed. So if you're interested in making physical donations of materials, Pay It Forward Humboldt has a list of the needed materials. Again, we want to encourage folks to stay informed throughout the recovery effort. We encourage people to sign up to the Humboldt County Emergency Alerts at humboldtgov.org/alerts. We also suggest that people subscribe to the OES news releases at humboldtsheriff.org/subscribe. There's also a Humboldt County Twitter at HumcoOES that you can search for information. The city also has its own Nixle emergency alerting system. So you can subscribe to that by texting Rio Dell area code 95562 to 888-777. And that way we can communicate with the public on emergent issues related to all city functions, water, wastewater, police, and recovery efforts as time moves forward. So now that formality the briefing is concluded, as the Rio Dell City Manager, I want to first of all thank the citizens of Rio Dell. This community came together at a time of great need, and people were checking on their neighbors, helping their neighbors, providing assistance to the fire department. It was an amazing thing to watch and to participate in. And I think it shows, really is a beacon to the rest of Humboldt County and really the world of how a small community can get together to tackle big challenges that affect all of us, irregardless of race, religious preference, age, gender, all of that. Everybody comes together, and it was a beautiful thing to foresee under very difficult circumstances. There are so many people to thank and so many organizations to thank that I feel that it is difficult, because if I leave anyone out, I really don't mean to do that. But there are a few people, I think, that there are a few organizations that I think do need to be pointed out specifically. One of those being the Rio Dell Volunteer Fire Department. This was the backbone of the recovery and response in the immediate hours. And I want everybody to please consider volunteering for this great organization that really helps people in their time of need, and is a great way to give back to the community in a very impactful way. Also, as the city manager, I want to thank specifically all of the city staff. Not all of them are here today, but this is one of the best staff that the city's ever had, and at the right time and at the right moment. When the chips were down and we had a major emergency, everybody chipped in and everybody stepped forward. It's very similar to the COVID pandemic, where people didn't look for excuses to not work, but showed up, put everything that they had towards running the city and moving the city forward. And this is a great credit to everybody, both present and our line staff who are hopefully at home, warm and getting some rest. Everybody's put in a huge amount of effort, and that includes the city council at the fire meeting last Thursday. One of the remarks there is it's a beautiful thing to see the city council all working together and pulling towards the same direction for this community. And that was something that was made very clear. So I want to thank each and every council member present here and past for pulling together and getting the city really into this position of being able to respond proactively to this response. We have had a number of great improvements to the city, everything from a backup water source that the council pulled for, to backup power supplies here at City Hall that did not go out. backup batteries at the corporation yard that bought our team vital hours in the immediate aftermath of uninterrupted power. All of that's possible because the council has had a consistent and clear vision about moving the city forward, not focusing on the negativity, and really having a positive view of the future of this community. So the council also deserves a great amount of thanks. I also want to say thank you to Humboldt County OES and to Cal OES for stepping forward and assisting us throughout this whole process and really going to bat for this community. Again, specifically with Public Works, we also had a major rain event last week. We're going to have another rain event here tomorrow. And throughout this, we also had another crisis, which was a sanitary sewer overflow from just the sheer amount of rain and new additional cracks in the wastewater collection system, getting stormwater into the system. And so everybody's been really pulling on multiple levels at the staff level. Humboldt County Planning and Building stepped forward. John Ford's team, Arcata and Eureka also sent people, and we can't forget Kevin Caldwell either, for getting out and doing these inspections and making sure that dangerous structures were identified, and they were identified in the first day. In the first hours of this crisis, we focused in on those red tags, bearing in mind that the lived experience of this community is that the aftershocks have always been more dangerous and more destructive than the initial event. And folks will remember in '92 when a good portion of Scotia burned down as a result of the aftershocks. Michelle Bushnell and Rex Bone from the Board of Supervisors have been consistently going to bat for this community and deserve a lot of credit for everything that they've done. These are proactive supervisors. I call them the glue, especially Michelle, pulling people together in a difficult time, particularly when we had no comms, no cell coverage, internet, that sort of thing. It's a difficult situation. There were other great groups. World Central Food Kitchen stepped forward and out of nowhere seemingly, and we're delivering services with no questions and doing a great job. Numerous bottled water donations, and our friends, our contractors with Went, Walland, and others stepped forward. In terms of damage, the Rio Dell Fire Department fared fairly well, but there was definitely some damage to their doors, some of their sidewalls, and the estimate there is somewhere in the $100,000 to $150,000 range. Rio Dell Elementary and Middle Schools remain largely a question mark. The gym at the elementary school is pretty severely damaged. We have heard estimates ranging from very low numbers to extremely high numbers regarding that facility. The state architect, along with the school district, will be working on those numbers. In terms of the Rio Dell water distribution system, obviously we had water pipe leaks, a lot of them in the initial hours, so much that it was draining the system, and we had no ability to stop that from occurring. Those water pipe leaks, of course, again, we had more of them as a result of the aftershock. We also have significant damage to the crossings underneath the freeway, connecting both the east side and west side of the community underneath the freeway. Those are going to be major, significant repairs, and there's also damage in the collection system underneath the freeway for the wastewater side. In addition, Painter Street tank failed during this event. Unfortunately, it was not a catastrophic failure causing 250,000 gallons to suddenly come down the hill, but it ruptured. It looks like a full replacement is needed. In terms of the wastewater treatment plant, we have significant damage to our contact basin, chlorine contact basin, which is one of the final pieces of the wastewater treatment process that helps to clean the water before it is discharged. That bill could be very significant in terms of the damage. That facility, that contact basin, is one of the oldest structures in the city property portfolio and has been through numerous earthquakes. But this one appears to have permanently damaged the structure. In addition, an on-site sodium hypochlorite generator has also had issues, particularly in the aftershock. We have seen some additional damage to the roads. For the most part, in the initial event, the damage was relatively light and not significant from a dollar value. So we're working on these damage assessments. We do expect a team from the state here later to work on this. So that is my briefing on this particular subject. I want to make sure that we get to the individual staff members to report out more specifically on their departments. And I would like to actually ask Randy to start us out to discuss water and let us know what he thinks about the overall situation and where we've been and where we are today and where we need to be going tomorrow.
Mayor, council members. It's a blur. So basically with the water system, I mentioned a few key items. One of the tanks are offline. The river tank is not online either. So we have a 500,000 gallon tank that we're currently using for water storage for the zone A or zone 1, which is most of town. There's a other water tank up on top of the hill by the cell tower, the goods water tank zone. That doesn't have any damage to it as well, so we're good with that. And it's feeding 35 homes that are up on top of mine, and that line seems to be doing okay. With the first earthquake that we had up to probably about 10 to maybe 11 major water breaks on our system. Two of the biggest ones was Center Street, and then after we did some work on that, it was, I think, the next day, Davis Street overpass broke. During the course of Center Street breaking, while checking the tanks at the initial, within 10 minutes of the earthquake, just being at the tank site, the water coming out of the tank was just rushing here through both the pipes. So at that point, we decided to make about a few minutes later, we decided to shut that tank down to preserve water for in case of fires and have water storage for down the road, so we can at least maintain and keep the community going after the fact and get some of these things fixed. Multiple lines broken everywhere. Obviously, you guys know that. The crews that come in, we've had a couple contractors that assisted us immediately. They were here. Our staff did a tremendous job keeping everything up and going. And what the resources that we have. And obviously these contractors have a lot larger and more equipment than we do, and they were able to expedite the repairs quite rapidly and get things going in a better manner than us spending a number of times just trying to get things fixed. But anyway, from that point, when I shut the tank down, we had a boil water notice after that point because the system was depressurized. And anytime you depressurize the system, it has the potential to suck in contaminants into the water system. So it can be a hose and something, and then once you turn that off, you have a leak, the water's going somewhere else, it creates a vacuum and brings things into the system. So that's why we had the boil water notice. So I announced that with that, we did 8 samples after we depressurized the system, which worked very well, considering very well with that. After we repressurized the 8 samples, all passed, so then we were able to get the boil water notice. Still working on leaks during that course of the time. Meanwhile, none of the staff has had any time off. This has been go home for a couple hours, come back, and we start nailing hitting water leaks again. So coming up what Christmas, I guess it is, whenever this other aftershock came, it knocked out another probably 11 weeks that I know of off the top of my head. Going through, and 5 of them were today. Birch is destroyed. That line is beyond repair. Pacific up behind City Hall is destroyed beyond repair. There's clamps. We burned through all the clamps. all the equipment that we have are resources for getting parts here, and we've used it all up. So if we have more leaks tonight, we just let it go. The water treatment plant, we're not using it at the moment because the river's really dirty, turbid and whatnot, so we've been using the well. Luckily, we had Caltrans crew, actually, they just went through, like 2 days ago, went through the bridge, double checked the line, it's all intact, no leaks there, so we're good there. We've been using the wells ever since the first earthquake. Chlorine residuals a little higher, but that's partly because we have to treat the manganese. So the way to do that, we use a higher dose of chlorine to get the manganese to come out and filter it, as we have a brand new facility out there with the filters at the Metropolitan Well site. With all the leaks, we're barely able to keep up with that. We're currently at about 25 feet, 26 feet in elevation in the tank out of a 40-foot tank. That's nerve wracking to me. So, if we can't keep up and we have issues and you have a fire, there's not enough water to put it out. So we got to figure out where these leaks are and try to figure out what we can do to keep that going. I don't know. This has been way overwhelming for me. Big part I want to mention too, though, is the city staff. Once that first one shaker hits, they can't stay home and help their families. They have to leave everything immediately and go tend to the community. And eventually that wears on you. Quite dramatically at some points. All of our guys, city staff, contractors that we have, everybody's flat wore out. The community in a whole with the fire department, volunteers all through town, all helping us tell where leaks are at. Like that, very grateful for that. We just wish we had more people to help actually resolve the leaks and whatnot. I'm probably missing a bunch of stuff. My brain is scrambled at the moment. Every day was a meeting with the regional or the state water board, letting them know the status update on where we're at, how many leaks, what we fixed, all that kind of stuff. Chlorine residuals throughout town, everything's good there. The water is safe to drink, even after this last earthquake we just had. I just did another 4 runs, 4 more sites for testing today. We'll know tomorrow to verify those. But those that we just fixed on First, Ash, Birch, and Sequoia, those were depressurized just for minutes and not for hours. So those, for that part, we don't need to do a boil water, no like that. And I'm very confident that we're going to pass those tests as well. So please, the water is safe. It is going to be turbid still from everything being knocked loose in the pipes and whatnot. I recommend just flushing the lines, cleaning the screens on your filters on the faucets, keep things flowing. It's kind of a catch-22 because the more you flush, the more you do that, the more the tank drains down, and I can't keep up. So I get it, but we definitely need to get the water system cleared up. Losing the Painter Street tank is a big hit to us. We don't have that extra storage, and we need to get something going on that sooner than later. If you guys have any questions for me, I'll stop now because I can keep going about. Just basic overview. It's been chaotic out there, and it's every 5 minutes you get a call to go somewhere else, and it's one of those days.
Thank you, Randy. Do you want to take questions, ask questions now, or wait till the end? I'll ask your opinion, like everyone bit of writing, okay? Derek, you're up.
Derek Taylor, wastewater superintendent, Mayor Jones, members of the council. Wastewater system. There's a lot to be seen, a lot to know. As far as the collection system goes, there's a lot of unknowns. From what we've seen preliminarily, we've had excessive rains, some call it normal. I haven't seen it this wet here since I've started in Rio Dell, so it was a bit of a shock to see kind of what the impact of that was in regard to the sanitary sewer overflow of Painter Street, which is our problematic area. To add what Randy said about city staff, at least from my experience with the public works department, absolutely, the ground hadn't even stopped shaking, and phone calls started coming in. They were checking on infrastructure, and they were just there, and it's been literally nonstop since the 20th. a lot of missed opportunities, or not missed opportunities, but a lot of sacrifice for coming on the holidays with family members and stuff like that. So a huge thank you to everybody we worked with, Randy included. He, you know, scattering. It's like game or something like that. We did suffer a little bit of damage, like Kyle mentioned. I won't minimize it. Still remains to be seen with the chlorine contact basin. We are leaking out of the discharge side. The state has been all informed. We have a few manholes out in the collection system that, from reading further into it, there's liquefaction or the damage is caused by that sudden burst of energy from an earthquake, even raising and settling, all sorts of stuff. So we did have an opportunity to survey the entire system, or manholes at least, after the first quake, and didn't see any significant damage, or saw some signs of aging, but we're aware of. One of those pump houses fell off the foundation. It was a little bit of a shocker. Our, a couple of yellow and red tags on our infrastructure. Misaligned laterals were starting, that some of the more aftermath things are starting to show up. People are starting to call and starting to note, different issues out there that we're starting to invest in, starting to investigate, and can hopefully get eyes on the system. And we have, with our sanitary sewer evaluation, we are scheduled, once additional funding comes along, we can then start scanning the system and find out what's going on. But it's kind of hard to camera when everything's full. We have a meeting with the regional board tomorrow with the State Department of Financial Assistance. So I'm looking forward to that meeting with Kyle tomorrow at 3. I do want to say thank you to the County OES for putting us in touch with the city of Eureka. They came down on a mutual aid assist. They've been down here twice to help us out. We're in contact with the generators suffered quite a bit of plumbing and strapping damage. So we did end up losing the tank, and it took us a solid 6 to 8 hours to get the chlorine generator fired back up. It's on Band-Aids, but it's working currently. I just thank you to everybody who helped. I appreciate it very much. And if you guys have any questions or anything, we're done.
Thank you.
Mayor Garnes, members of the council, Kevin Caldwell, planning and building. I too want to say thank you to all of our partners that helped us on this. OES, John Ford and his crew from the county. Michelle Bushnell has been instrumental. I think she's been here every day. So we all should appreciate that. We had help from the city of Arcata, the city of Eureka, a staff member from HCD that's helping us out with the mobile home parks and the RV parks. We had 8 representatives from OES, Caltrans engineers, that have been an extreme helpful benefit. Many of them actually responded to the Puerto Rico earthquake years ago, so they've been through this before. I do want to say the first couple days, we were really doing walk-by, almost windshield type surveys, looking for very visible damages. And those are the ones we assessed first. And then we circled around and came back. We are expecting 16 more inspectors from OES, part of the Caltrans team, DGS team. They'll be coming on board tomorrow morning. We're meeting at 9 o'clock at the fire hall again. What we're going to do is the same thing we did last time. We're breaking the city up into 8 neighborhoods, and we're going to go out there in teams of 2 and do a door-to-door sweep. So every building, every house, every commercial building will be hit again within the next 4 to 5 days, which is good news for everybody. Again, I want to reiterate about staff and the community. Kyle said it's a beautiful thing when the community comes together like it did. We do have a great staff. Randy and Derek and his crew, they've been working, actually they're probably working 16 to 18 to 20 hours a day. And we're lucky to have these guys, and I hope everybody realizes that. As you might expect, most of the significant damage was to those houses that were on post and pier foundations. A lot of racking. The first event actually moved from west to east. the second event that occurred on New Year's Day, moved from the south to the north. So we had two different directions going ultimately, and that did the damage. The Post and Pier foundations, there was a lot of water heater damages as well. I was surprised and actually disappointed to see how many people do not actually strap or anchor their water heaters. Another thing that was very surprising to me is how many people do not have carbon monoxide detectors in their homes. And I can't tell you how critical it is to have a carbon monoxide detector in your home, and make sure your hot water heaters are strapped. It could be deadly. So I really want to get that point out. To date, we've got 69 structures, dwelling units that are red tagged, and 111 units that are yellow tagged. And the red tag is basically, you should not be in your residence. If you do need to go in to get some of your belongings, we recommend you actually contact the fire department and take one of their personnel to go with you in case something happens while you're inside. They are first responders, EMTs. And then as far as the yellow tags, they vary from anything to a porch coming loose off the front of the house, to collapsed carports. And the yellow tag is just a restricted use. In those cases, we say utilize your back door entrance, stay out of the carport area, stay away from that fireplace that's racked off your building. Again, though, I just can't believe how well the community has come together. And I want to say that every encounter that I've had with individuals, with residents, has been a positive experience. It has been very appreciative. And that's nice to get that feedback from people. And it's not just staff, but appreciative of the council, appreciative of the community as a whole. It's really encouraging, liking to see that kind of stuff. But at this point, again, we're at 69 red tags, 111 yellows. We start at 9 o'clock again tomorrow morning. And we hope to have all 16 OES folks with us. And all of this will actually be cataloged electronically and geo-referenced, which is a little easier than filling out the paperwork. The paperwork actually takes much more time than doing it electronically. So I'm looking forward to that. And with that, I'll turn it over to the chief.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Barnes, council members. I'd like to quadruple down on the thank yous, especially to the city council, Mayor yourself, Councilwoman Carter, who's been there the whole time asking what she can do, how she can help. Tremendous, support from the city council, and we appreciate that from the police department's standpoint. Also, thanks to our local agencies, law enforcement agencies around the county. We have continued support from Sheriff Hansel, our KWPD's Chief Ahern, EPD's Chief Jarvis, all called in and offered their support just about every day during this disaster. For our staff, we continue to maintain the public safety. We're able to do that and continue to do that throughout this disaster. For us, how we were affected was communication. Our phone lines went down, our cell phones went down, and our radio channel went down. For police department, that's a big hit. I'd like to thank Fortuity for allowing us to communicate on their channel. That helped us out a lot as far as our communication. We have staff move around and help other places that needed it. Most of our calls were welfare checks. We were up to about 40 welfare checks, and most of those came because the communication system was down, and those from out of town when we check on the loved ones inside the city. The other calls we had were a lot of animal calls. A lot of animals got out, including one today. So if you're missing a little small dog, we have it. So come get it. Yeah, with the coat on. We had it sitting nice and warm in our office, so you're missing that. Besides that, again, also thanks to Supervisor Bushnell. He's been around and giving us a lot of support. You don't see that around different areas, and it's good to see. And then again, seeing that community support is tremendous. And so again, if anybody has any questions concerning.
Thank you, Steve. Ms. Travis.
Good evening, Mayor Garn, members of the city council. Yeah, I think it's important to just say first and foremost, the staff, the city council, the community at large, for going above and beyond in this incident, fielding calls, triaging issues within the city. Again, these were people working through the Christmas and New Year's Eve holiday, who had a lot of issues at home to deal with and chose to, devote their time to the city. So that was certainly appreciated. Using the guidelines set forth by the standardized emergency management system, there were 5 main responsibilities finance and administration took care of: the timekeeping, cost accounting, compensation, purchasing or rentals in this instance, and recovery. We've set up separate revenue and expense accounts within the city accounting system to account for all the expenses that have been endured during this time. We've been collecting and gathering the ICS Activity 214 logs, which if anyone in the community or staff, anyone who's donated their time or resources to the city, please fill out one of these forms. It's paramount for our recovery process and to allow the city to document that time for timekeeping tracking purposes. The donation tracker as well. We've had numerous donations from countless outfits ranging all across the United States, donating water, food, supplies, manpower, resources. And all those are things that the finance department is keeping track of and documenting so that when we report this to the state, it allows us to account for a lot of these costs that we're taking on right now. We've also been working as liaison in coordination with the water department, working with the water board a little bit, helping to eliminate the boil notice last week, trying to get them timely test results and getting updates on our website and proper communication channels so that we can get that word spread accurately. We've been working on the initial damage estimate for roads, city infrastructure, working with third parties to account for costs and damages for city equipment. Also working with county and state OES, requesting assistance, gathering financials, and completing the paperwork needed for the recovery. As additional costs are calculated and validated, this will ultimately assist with the cost recovery and financial liability the city is responsible for. That's my update. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, staff. And I'm going to go to questions, but before I do, I really, city manager, awesome, no words. Randy, Eric, Kevin, Jake, I mean, it's just amazing. And your responses, your energy you've been putting in has been absolutely amazing. And I personally am going to stand up and give you a round of applause. Maybe you want to, Michelle, back there. I come back to that. Mayor Pro Tem.
Oh, it's me now.
It's you now.
I'm gonna get used to that. I don't have questions per se. I feel like I have been with all of you in your offices, out in the streets, standing in the pouring rain, and gotten a good handle on what you have been up against. So no, I don't have questions necessarily, just a billion thank yous. I have more things to say about the earthquake, but I think I'm gonna wait till member reports, if that's okay. So no questions for me. Have you all the best. Councilmember Woodall.
No questions, but being as we're thanking everybody, and I do my thanks, Sally. I think the staff and everybody did a great job. Kyle, it had to be overwhelming at first, and you did a fantastic job. And I like the fact that you facilitated the legal assistance center. That was a great help for our citizens. They could go there and they could talk to different agencies that they needed to talk to. Deborah, you were a great spokesman for the council. How often does the mayor of Rio Dell get to talk to CNN? Not very often. I mean, it was wonderful. And like I said, the staff, Karen hasn't got to celebrate Christmas yet. She's been here all the time. Randy, it's had to be hard for you because of, and everybody, the conditions of the house, you stayed here and worked. I had a man stop me today and say, Randy's doing a great job. You helped him today down at the dumpsters, and he was just really impressed that you helped him. All of you did a great job. Fire department, let me first say, Michelle, you were wonderful. Every time I turned around, you were there. And after 24 years of sitting up here in the bed, supervisor that we've had, no doubt. Thank you so much for it. I mean, I really appreciate it. The fire department, I can't say enough, and I know we all know we can't say enough about them. And the two incidents run together, so I'm not sure, but I know this, I think this was last incident. I was driving around town. I couldn't go around the corner where there wasn't a fire truck. There were 7 districts, fire districts that were here helping us. And it was amazing. And the whole time, I mean, the women up there with the auxiliary that were running their, manning their posts it was just really something to see. Okay, that covers most of them. And then there were so many little things that we talk about with the customers. And I can't even begin to mention all of them. So if anybody else mentions, Scotia Lodge taking in the displaced before Christmas was wonderful. Paradise and Magalia came over here, and you know that they suffered in the last fires. You know, they've lost their whole town, but they came over here with water and mattresses to help out. And that really, you know, impressed me. The Methodist Church came up from down south to help people with the smaller cleanups. I know that one of the first things they went out on was to help a lady that had her bookshelf had fallen over and she couldn't get it up, and she also couldn't put her books back up. But it was those kind of little things that they, you know, worked with. Water came from Texas. I don't know what town, but I mean, that was pretty amazing that what the Texas sent water. Mayor of Williams, right?
Windsor.
Windsor. Getting that one all wrong. It's a W. And she came up right after and brought donations. On Facebook, it's amazed me. People have had needs, and one lady needed a tarp on her roof. And, you know, she couldn't get up there. And one of the other people on Facebook went and helped her. One gentleman was handicapped, and he put on Facebook that he didn't have enough water to flush his toilet. And I think it was Shane's wife that made sure that he got water. What are my other ones? I just can't believe there were other ones on Facebook that one lady needed help with her hot water heater, and somebody else came. I think Jonathan in the back offered at one point to help some lady that was on Facebook. I'm not sure what it was about, but I know you offered, and that just really impressed me that there was so much help. And, you know, my heart goes out to everybody that's displaced, but it's also to all of us, because I don't know how you guys feel, but I'm still traumatized by the whole thing. When Karen's phone went off earlier, I just jumped. But that's all. I want to thank everybody. It was wonderful to see. Was it wonderful to experience, but it brought us together. That's all. Thank you. Councilmember Water?
I don't have any questions, but as being a person that was on the receiving end of a lot of these services before I was even on the council, I just want to say thank you. There was never a point where I thought that we were being left behind or ignored for anything. The inspections, the fire department going around, the water, the safety, anything. It was awesome. And as 6 kids in a house and a wife and having to go to work and worrying about things coming down around your ears, it's nice to know that there's always somebody there. So thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Wilson?
Yeah, it's to say thank you is not enough. You can't say it enough times. This is my first time that I've actually been on the receiving side of this situation. That was 30 years ago when it went through, and it's been relatively quiet. Hopefully it'll settle down, but it is a phenomenal thing what the city has done. Even in those other times, I don't think I've seen the response that this city has done, that this fire department's done. This fire department was merged with Scotia and some other communities, Red Crest and some of those that merged, which would be Rio Dell. And then, reached out in the way that they have as a truly community fire department. Is again, pretty phenomenal, what we have here. And, to not be thankful for where we live and where we're at, and, there's always people that have it worse. And I didn't come out so bad as some of these people, these 59 red tags and 111 yellow tags and just all of the stuff that the staff has gone through. I know the personal hardships, they just pass that off on all of us. And so rather than to belabor this and go on and on, I thank the staff, I thank just everybody that we mentioned a dozen times here. It is truly, it's truly an experience again to be a part of a wonderful community. And so we talked years ago about what we call this place, or we had some names, we were dreaming of some catchphrases for the city of Rio Dell, and you don't need catchphrases. I mean, it's here, it's a privilege. It's a privilege to be amongst these people, and the ones that aren't here, that have been on and on and on and on. You see a little bit of courage on there was one stuff that came out on Facebook. It was, I thought there for a minute, gee, people are getting back to normal because they can, I don't want to use the wrong word here, but they can complain about the situation. And then somebody got on there and told them, you need to come down to, you need to come down to me at this location where I'm working. And we can talk, we can talk one-on-one. Yeah, later I saw that the one person did go down and talk to I believe it was Shane's wife, and came back and apologized and retracted what they said. When they truly went down and got away from their iPod and wandered down there and saw what was really going on, they realized that this is, you can't sit there and be an armchair quarterback on this kind of deal. So rather than keep going, I just, there's not enough time to say thank you to all the names, and like Kyle said, to leave somebody out. I mentioned them a bunch, and they've all been mentioned a lot. So thank you.
Thank you. And I want to add my thank you. I want to call out the citizens of Rio Dell and the amazing job that the community did coming together and supporting each other. There are no words for what the staff has had to deal with, and they've done it with grace. They've done it with energy, and they got to be just dragging, and they still show up and put out everything they have, and it's an amazing thing to watch. Supervisor Bushnell. She's standing up to the senators. She's like, I'm not taking it. I'm not going to say anything. She's saying something that she's fighting for us, for all the citizens, and we are truly grateful for that. Supervisor Bone has also, he's bringing in some people to help, but you've been amazing. I mean, you really truly have, and we really appreciate that. Everyone, all the agencies that showed up, Senator McGuire, he's the leader of the Senate. He came down because this is his district, and he came up, he came up here to stand by us. He has said that anything we need, he will do his level best to make sure it's met. And if you've ever met him, you know that he's telling you the truth. He is a very sincere person and a very strong, go-getter kind of guy. So I want to thank everyone, Sheriff, OES, all of those people. But there's an organization called COAD. They are not here now. They don't know that I'm saying this, but Jen and Allison did so much to bring, from bringing food here to bringing gift cards here for people. They got the food trucks, all of that going.
And, there's no way that the city of Rio Dell, will ever be able to think that we made it through the way we made it through without Jen and Allison. They were amazing. They were here, and they're still here, by the way. They're down at the Community Resource Center, and they're filling out forms and handing out more gift cards and doing everything they can do to help people who need help. And so all of that, everyone who's here, Mayor Pro Tem, Manager Carter, and Julie Woodall, they were out there every day delivering food, helping out, doing everything that they could do. And so I want to thank them too. They're like total volunteers. I mean, you know. So, and really, my heart goes out to all the displaced people. I mean, it is heartbreaking. I mean, we all know we lost stuff. We all lost stuff. They lost their homes. I can't imagine having that feeling, waking up and getting shaken out of your house and not being able to go back in. So if there's anything anyone can do, we reach out to those folks and try our best to help them or be supportive to them, because they are going through something that, unless you've been through it, you can't even imagine. There's a lot of people to thank, and hopefully we'll get to that place where we're thanking, like formally thanking. I do want to call out Carter, Castor, and Wyatt Sneed, 3 young men, 17 down to, I don't know, 9. I'm not sure how old, they're the youngest ones. 2 brothers and a cousin. They were here every day. They were handing out food. They were taking orders. They were passing water out to people. So all the other people, we are very grateful. But those 3 young men, I hope that we can do a resolution or something for them to let them know, like give them a badge or something. I don't know. We need to do something for them, because we need to keep those 3 involved. Those 3 know what community is about. They know what helping each other is about, and we need to keep them involved in our community. And last, I would say, strap your water heaters. Please strap and anchor your water heaters. That caused a lot of trouble and a lot of extra response that we could have avoided, you know. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, staff. I'm doing this for Randy. Don't put oil in the dumpsters, please. Don't put hazardous materials that goes in the storm drain, and it causes people who are working their tails off to help have to divert from what they're doing to go and get stuff out of the storm drains that was never, ever, ever necessary to be in there in the first place. And with that, I will move on to, are there any public members who would like to say anything?
Thank you, Mayor Garnes, Council Gordon Johnson, 165 South Sequoia. It's a pleasure to be here. I got a question for Derek and or Kyle. All the damage to the sewer collection system, is that going to impact, delay the sanitary sewer evaluation that GHD is doing for the city?
I would hope that our meeting tomorrow will be fruitful, maybe some information as to where we're at on the priority list for additional grant funding for completing the sanitary sewer evaluation study, and then also maybe prioritizing a couple of the other projects that we queue to kind of move forward on that, to kind of get a better idea of what's going on out there. We need time and we need resources in order to figure out exactly what happened underground. Unlike, the water system that will tell on itself immediately, the sewer system is just it's a mystery at this point. So we'll have some more information hopefully tomorrow as far as how fast we can move forward with figuring out what the extent of our damage is.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other questions from members of the public? And John, there you were sitting there, I didn't thank you. Oh my goodness, he was great.
Hi, Jonathan Brody here. Let's see, I got a couple questions here. First of all, can you let me know when we're gonna have the next earthquake so I can make it? No, I just kidding. All right, let's go. On the water thing, is it just the water running in the town? You said like a couple areas destroyed completely. Is that the sewer or the water? You said on
Birch, you said.
on Birch.
First Street, basically, the water pipe is beyond repair.
Right, so it's shut off right now.
No, it is on, but it's still leaking.
Oh, okay, but you're leaving it on.
We're able to isolate some of the larger leaks of it, but it's still seeping in spots.
I was just curious if like spots in town, if there's like large areas shut off right now.
All of town is on, except for the highway crossings across Davis Street and Center Street.
And then the building inspection, say the next 4 to 5 days, is that gonna be for gas, water and structure or?
It's gonna be all three basically, and we're hoping, we're knocking on doors, so we're hoping people are gonna answer the doors.
Okay.
We should have, we have hit, I would say probably at least 90% of all structures at this point, but we're gonna go back again. Some of them were hit before the second event.
Right.
On New Year's Eve day. So again, we're gonna have a team of approximately 16 people that will be deploying shortly after 9 o'clock tomorrow morning.
Okay. And then real quick too, also we had RH Construction, who's the assistant fire chief at the department. He sent on a crew to go help and do repairs free of cost. And then Tommy Norton, who owns shops and other businesses, also sent a crew out himself, kind of doing the same thing. So yeah, that's it.
Thank you. There any other, public comments? Any hands raised, any emails? I did want to just give a shout out to the, Jane Wilson and the, fire department, which were just absolutely amazing. And we had, I don't know, there were maybe 10 building inspectors that came up from the south as far as San Bernardino and Lake Tahoe. They were here on Christmas Day. They were out here aiding the town. They were up from the Southern California, helping the town of Rio Dell, or the city of Rio Dell. And that was really appreciated and actually really pretty good, pretty great to have someone saying, I'm not gonna be at home on Christmas, I'm gonna be up helping the whole town. I never heard that. So I give them a shout out too. And with that, we'll close that item and move on to the city manager and staff updates.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. So we weren't able to provide a written update for this meeting, but it would, if we had, it would say earthquake. So that has been, I would say, probably 99% of staff's time has been spent and overtime spent responding to this particular situation. But we're happy to answer any questions that the council may have regarding city business in general.
Questions? I think you answered all the, that was, earthquake has been a city business, I think, for the last 14 days. Is there anyone from the public who would like to ask a question?
Thank you, Mayor Rollins. Travis, have water sewer bills been set out for last month?
Yeah, they have.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think I received one yet, but.
Okay, we can certainly check into that, but yeah, they were renewed for Fred and they were sent out.
Thank you.
Thank you. And with that, we will, any hand raised, any emails? Then we will move on to, we'll close that and move on to special call items. Number one, approve appointments and alternates to external boards, committees, and commissions, page 42 in our packets. Manager, city. 42.
Okay, so I'll pick this one up. So for members of the city council, and if members of the public are unaware, the role and responsibility of being a city council member extends far beyond just these meetings and just the management of the city. The city participates in a number of regional efforts, joint powers authorities, and different organizations that the council spends their time going to board meetings, representing Rio Dell and the broader community. So annually or after post-elections, we do assignments for the positions. And the current list is on page 43, starting on the list. Currently with former council member Gordon Johnson's departure from the council, we have several vacancies in his area. There are three particular vacancies of note. One would be the Humboldt County Association of Governments, which is a planning agency countywide, focused mostly on transportation issues that Mr. Johnson was the principal for. We also have the alternate for the Humboldt Waste Management Authority, which is probably the busiest and most vexing of all posts assigned to the council members. And then we also have the Humboldt Transit Authority vacancy as well. Further down the list on vacancies would be the Labor Ad Hoc Committee, the Economic Development Ad Hoc Committee, which should be eliminated because their product has already been produced, so that is no longer a vacancy. And then the Utility Rate Ad Hoc Committee is also a defunct committee because that process has been completed. And the Labor Ad Hoc Committee is trying to remember what the dates are, but there isn't anything pending on that in the near future. So with that, this is really a conversation for the council to work out amongst yourselves. One of the possible options here is with our new council member, Robert Orr, is that he take the Humboldt County Association of Governments and the Humboldt Waste Management Authority alternate position, and that the council work out the HTA appointment. So this is up to the council to make that assessment and find appropriate accommodations for these three vacancies and any other shifts that the council wishes to engage in at this time. So with that, I'll go ahead and return to the mayor to see about the fulfillment of these obligations.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem, are you happy where
I am happy where I am. I can't do the HTA because at 9 a.m. I saw it. I'm usually at work. And I will serve on any local ad hoc forever and always.
and Councilmember Woodall?
I am a HTA person, yes, and I'd like to stay on it and, can't see I'd like to stay on that.
Yeah, okay. And Councilmember Wilson?
Yeah, I'd like to stay on I'd like to make a couple corrections first. Humboldt Waste Management meets on the second Thursday at 5:30 and not the third Thursday.
The second person?
And then the RCEA, Redwood Coast Energy Authority, meets on the fourth Thursday, not the third Monday. And I would like to stay on both of those. On ongoing committees. I don't want to add anything. I'm good with it.
And Councilmember Orr, I think I'm understanding that you're happy with the HCOG
That's correct.
and the Hazardous Waste Management Authority alternate.
Yes.
We'll put you there, and I will do the alternate to the HTA.
So what was Councilmember Orr doing?
Basically, Gordon was doing there the HCOG and as the primary, and HWMA as the alternate.
Okay. And you were gonna do
HTA alternate,
you were gonna do HDA.
correct.
That's-
So I think that's it.
And then do we want to fill, just so we don't have to have a separate agenda item at a future point, the labor ad hoc?
Okay, slap me on there. You want it? You already- And does anyone else want to be on the labor ad hoc? Still on it then,
Well, is that for what we're doing? Like,
the contract costs and that kind of thing.
are those coming up?
No, not anytime
I
soon.
don't think, not within the next year, I believe, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I'm willing to do that if you guys want to do it, but if someone else wants it, that's fine too.
What you on there then, Mr. Wilson?
So that's on the labor thing?
Yes. You and Councilmember Carter.
Right.
On the back page,
Yeah, look at labor is,
Labor Ad Hoc Committee,
who's on there now? You or?
I am.
Okay, so you're gonna get off of this.
Well, yeah.
Carter's gonna go on there.
Carter's gonna be the alternate, but actually it isn't, that's more of a both people show up. That isn't an alternate kind of situation.
Are we still on labor or on just,
No, we're only on labor, that's the only one. The other two are defunct.
so those,
Yeah, so if you want to be on that,
yeah, I'm going to be on labor.
I'm willing to let you.
And then Carter's gonna be the alternate.
No, that is,
They're both.
yeah, you got there, okay.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I'll scare you.
I'm going small.
Okay. Okay, yeah, so is that good there, city manager? Oh. Yeah, no, comment.
Thank you, Mayor Garnes. Another organization that the city has been party to is Local Agency Information Commission, also known as LAFCO. They perform a very important duty for the community, for the county in regards to annexations or de-annexations for all the cities plus all the community service districts. There is going to be a vacancy for a primary member from the city and a alternate for the city. Mayor Garnes will sit with the mayor selection committee and decide who will be those two people. But if you're not overwhelmed now by assignments, I would suggest that it's a very worthy way to spend your time and thank you.
Thank you. Okay, council member. You, Citizen Gordon. And so I think that is that. That's not a voting thing.
Can we get that in a motion?
Yeah, we need a, do we need a?
So I could just suggest some language, that the board or that the council, approve the appointment of, Robert Orr to the Humboldt County Associations of, Governments. The appointment as the alternate to the Humboldt Waste Management Authority. That, Humboldt Transit Authority alternate position, be appointed, Deborah Garnes. That the Labor Ad Hoc Committee be appointed Wilson and Carter.
Is there a motion?
So,
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second? I'll second. We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Mayor Garnes,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Carter,
Yes.
Councilmember Orr,
Yes.
Councilmember Wilson.
Yeah.
Councilmember Woodall.
Yes. Motion carries 5-0. Now we will move on to our final ordinance, and special resolutions, introduction and first reading by title only of ordinance number 397-2023, amending chapter 5.40 cannabis tax, business tax, section 5.40.260, and 5.40.290 of the Rio Dell Municipal Code. Page 45 in our packets.
Mayor Carnes, members of the council, this is an amendment to our cannabis tax regulations. Right now, the cannabis taxes are due in quarterly payments based on the fiscal business year. We have some farmers up on the Dismore Plateau that are growing outdoor greenhouse cultivation techniques. And right now, all three of the farmers, I believe, are behind on their tax payments. And we really don't have a tool to enforce those tax payments. So what we are recommending, and the city attorney is recommending, that we amend the regulations to require those types of cultivators, not the indoor cultivators or the year-round cultivators, but just those that depend on the growing season, to pay their taxes by March 15th of the following year. And the ordinance is attached, which starts on page 47 of your packet, clearly identifies that those payments will be due and payable by March 15th of the following year. And if they're not, there's language included in here that allows the city to revoke those permits. And it's basically just a cleanup to hopefully encourage the farmers to make their payments on time. And then if they don't make the payments on time, they can suspend or revoke their licenses and their permits. It's a minor amendment to the regulation, but it's another tool in our toolbox to help get these payments in. With that, I would answer any questions you may have about this. If there are no questions, as the council's aware, ordinances require first readings and a second reading for approval and adoption. I would recommend that we continue consideration of the ordinance to your meeting on June 17th for the second reading, approval, and adoption. And again, with that, I'll answer any questions that the council may have.
Thank you. And I think I'm glad you got around to that cleaning up and putting that in there. Are there any questions? Questions?
I guess, yeah, basically, so
Councilmember?
nothing really changes with the ordinance other than that it gives the state to enforce the dates that they're supposed to do this by.
It gives us teeth in a way that they can suspend their license if they don't. If
They
they're
can
not
suspend
concerned.
their license.
Yeah.
Okay. And we still have that, if they come to you with a hardship, they can come.
Absolutely.
Talk to you about it. But
Yes.
this gives you the ability to, we didn't have the ability to suspend the license previously.
It was questionable. This certainly tightens it up.
That.
Yeah, this certainly tightens.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, and the language that's in there now does allow for hardships, and as the council's aware last year, we actually reduced the tax in half and waived all the late penalties, which was a significant amount of money.
But that's already in there.
That's already in there. We're making no changes to that.
Thank you.
Are there public, any questions from the public?
My name is Tom Norton. I own one of those farms. I'm in the process of selling it to somebody else because I can't afford the way that it's going. I definitely recommend that you guys try to drop your $2 a square foot minus the hardships and all that, and follow suit with the rest of the county. Because what's going to end up happening, I also live up there too. There's 3 other farmers that have properties. 2 of them can already see that they're not going to make it. My farm, I'm in the process of selling it to somebody else that will be able to make it. But what it's doing is just pushing. I'm selling to somebody that's going to be out of town. You have local people like me that it's just not working. So I would recommend lowering the tax from $2 a square foot to something that's manageable, especially with the way the prices are, the way the economy is, and everything is just not feasible. So if you want to keep the local people up there without having to outsource to anybody else, that's what I would maybe try to work with them a little bit more. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Are there any hands raised? Are there any emails? And I would ask that we move to continue this to the second reading on January 17th, 2023. Do I need a motion for that?
Yes.
Okay, then, a motion for continued consideration of this proposal of this ordinance to the meeting of January 17th, 2023. Is there a motion?
I so moved.
Have a motion, is there a second? Second. We have a motion and a second, roll call please.
Mayor Pro Tem Carter,
Yes.
Councilmember Orr,
Yes.
City Manager, or Councilmember Wilson,
Yeah,
Councilmember Woodall,
Yes.
Mayor Gardner.
Yes. Motion carries 5-0. With that, we will move to council reports and communications, Mayor Pro Tem.
Okay, wow. It has been 2 weeks that feels like 2 months. At times, I feel like I have felt discouraged and downtrodden and sometimes even completely depressed, as I'm sure we all have. What I want to say though is that I know those won't be the feelings that I remember when I look back on this time in my life later down the road. What's going to stick with me long term are the acts of selflessness, compassion, and resilience that I've witnessed over the last 2 weeks here in Rio Dell. And I can say with 100% confidence that I have never, ever been more proud of this community and to say that I'm from Rio Dell. I think that every city council member in every small town in America will tell you that their city has the best staff, fire department, police department, chamber of commerce, community resource center, county board of supervisors, and residents. They will all tell you that they have the best. But somewhere in this big country, there is a small town that actually does have the best of all those things. And I say, why couldn't it actually be Rio Dell, California? And I hope that as we wrap up this meeting, we can all carry that sentiment with us out of this room. And for those of you listening out of the meeting virtually, because it will uplift us in case the locusts show up next week. Yeah. Thank you. That's it. That's my report.
Thank you. Councilmember Wilson.
well, that's hard to talk. Well, I agree with you, yeah.
Yes.
We do have that.
Yeah, that's,
As far as reports and, on the other agencies and things to report, don't crush out.
There hasn't been much in December meeting wise. Councilmember Orr.
Being new to this and, I mean, not horribly new to Rio Dell, but my wife and her family are from here. She was born and raised here. I can say I'm from a lot of places, but I'm honestly proud to say now that I'm from Rio Dell.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Woodall.
Well, just one last thank you. Mr. Norton, thank you. You've been a big help in town during this and letting the chamber use your lot for the thing. And I'd like to thank the Resource Center also. I forgot to mention them. They've done a good job. And that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. And hopefully over time, we will somehow come together and have a thank you for everyone and invite them and tell them and let them know how much it really meant to the city and still means to the city of Rio Dell. We are lucky and every people call Rio Dell. I call us Rio Delight. That and what we've been. So thank you, Rio Delight. Let's kind of set it aside and really believe Happy New Year. And that going forward, we will be into a new year that is not a disaster, but a strong, resilient community. Thank you again. Thank you, staff, tremendously. Is there a motion for adjournment? So moved. We have a motion. Is there a second?
Yep.
We have a motion. Meeting adjourned January 17th.